Hi everyone, I'm Debbie, the District 6 Coordinator for the Youth Environmental Program. Come on, let's check out Cedar Creek State Park. This park encompasses over 2,500 wooded acres. It's located in Gilmer County near Glenville, West Virginia. Cedar Creek is maybe a lesser known park of the 37 parks in the West Virginia State Park system, which makes it a hidden gem, providing an ideal backdrop for outdoor adventure and a variety of recreational activities. The park is home to 14 miles of hiking trails, a campground with 57 sites, and it also has 3 lakes. Speaking of lakes, this year the park added a fleet of brand new 4-seater paddle wheeler boats. One of the park's most unique features is that it has a little history intertwined in the scenic beauty. The park features 2 buildings that give visitors a chance to step back into West Virginia's pioneer days. The park office is actually a fully restored log cabin, which was formerly a Gilmer County historical landmark. And also on site, there's a one-room schoolhouse built in 1910, which was restored and moved to the park from Lewis County in 1989. And that is open for touring. For a multi-day outing, this is a great park because you could also take in North Bend State Park and the North Bend Rail Trail, which are about 50 miles northwest, or maybe you might decide to take in Burnsville Lake and Wildlife Management Area, which is approximately 40 miles to the east. Here's a little tip for you. Whenever I go to a state or national park, I like to seek out the park's naturalist or other staff member to get to learn more about the park. Also, check to see if the park is offering any special programs. The programs are generally free and give you a chance for hands-on experience and adventure, taking your fun to a whole new level. Today we're going to explore Cedar Creek State Park through the eyes of forester and Gilmer County local Jesse King. Let's go.
Hello everyone. So my name is Jesse King. I'm with West Virginia Division of Forestry. Particularly, I'm a service forester, which means I'm over helping with education, different resources and stuff when it comes to forestry within Gilmer County. So here today, we're at beautiful Cedar Creek State Park here in central West Virginia, where we're going to go over a virtual tour with you all, hike around, learn a little bit about forestry, wetlands, and other habitats. Come along. So here at Cedar Creek State Park, we've got large amounts of forest land that we're going to cover with you guys, hit some of the trails and everything. But first, I want to give you a little bit of statistics about our state in West Virginia. So we are the 3rd most forested state. Our forested acres covers everything up to about 12 million acres of forest, making us the 3rd most forested state. That adds up into actually about 1.8 billion trees that are located living within our state. So we think about all the oxygen and carbon and all these different effects, the habitats, and everything that we do by managing our forests here in West Virginia. So if you are in West Virginia and you're trying to learn a little bit about forestry, then you're in luck. You picked the best place. The only place that's more diverse than West Virginia in the whole world is actually the Amazon. So we are the 2nd most diverse forest type, being deciduous forest here in West Virginia. We also have transfer of different species by elevation, different climates, different things like that, different soil types. We also cover everything, the northern species of the United States. Their southern limit is actually West Virginia. The southern species in the United States, their northern limit is actually West Virginia. So we get, there's about an average of 120 commonly found species that we can even find here across Cedar Creek State Park. So we're going to have a lot of fun IDing some things, talking about some environmental subjects, some different factors with trees and forest management, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So one important part of forest management and another location that we would like to go over is our wetland areas. So we're going to give you 2 videos about wetland ecology, some waterfowl management, as well as our forest management. To start with forestry, you have areas of obligated wetland plants and areas of facultative. Obligated wetland plants have to be located within the water. They have to be within a more hydrologic area within the soil. Facultative wetland plants can be in a little bit drier of an area, but needs to be wet majority of the year. So what we kind of have here is we have different pollinators that would grow within a facultative wetland area that maybe would come in from seed during flooding, things like that. This is really beneficial to different pollinators. Pollinators can include everything from bats to birds, insects like butterflies, and this is how we spread to get most of the growth of our forest. Unfortunately, even though these can spread through flooding and different things, which is beneficial, we have other species that are unbeneficial, such as this grass here. And what we have here is Japanese stilt grass. This takes over large amounts of area. It has come in through disturbances within this facultative wetland. It has no nutritional value. Even farmers have a hard time getting it for livestock or anything. It's unpalatable, no nutrition, and takes over areas very, very quickly. This has been an invasive species that has been hard for our state to control. We are currently doing research across the board of trying to find a way to control this invasive species. Also, another benefit that we have here is we have Pawpaw. So in the area, this is a good species as a food resource for everything from raccoons to bears to anything like that. We have mostly dwarf Pawpaw here in our location. Some of the ways to identify this would be 1, the football-shaped leaf, as well as number 2, a feather-like bud. So this is another food resource that would also have a flower that would be good for pollinators. If we're going up into our canopy, then we work our way over to larger trees that can also be facultative. This one here is box elder. Box elder is actually located in the maple family and has samarans or wind-borne seeds. This species grows mostly only in wetter areas. It's less value as a timber product, but can hold in root systems to try to protect stream banks and items like that. So let's keep walking. So what we got here is a pawpaw tree. So identifying characteristics of it is this kind of football shaped like leaf. If we zoom in closely, we can see that the buds kind of have a feathery look to them. So that's a feathery bud. And then if we zoom into these parts, we can see these fuzzy little balls that are indicated on it. Moving on to the main bark or main trunk of the tree, they do not grow very large, so it's not a tree that you would gain any kind of lumber value from. But it's tighter bark, grayish in color. It is an alternate plant, meaning that the stems and branches alternate from each other in location. And if we work our way up, we can actually see the fruiting body that would occur on the pawpaw, which is the pawpaws themselves. The flowers before they come out are a purplish bell-shaped flower. When the pawpaws are ready, they are darkish in color. They are usually ready after a frost. So in this area, we're probably going to be looking into next month around in October. We refer to pawpaws here in West Virginia as the West Virginia banana. They have a softer, mushier texture and have a little bit of a taste of a banana. They have large seeds on the inside. So try to find these in your neighborhood. Try to find them, wait till they're ripe and ready, and then see how you like them. Behind me, you can see an example of how root systems are holding in a bank. The only thing that's still holding this bank structure up is actually this small box elder tree above me. If we look down below, we can see the larger root systems holding all that soil back and holding it in. As well as if we look very low down, we can see the fine root systems that are absorbing all the nutrients and water and everything that tree needs, but are locking in the small particles for the soil. Smaller the root systems, the more tied in that they can become. Though this is a really good species to hold in the bank, not every species that we get is always a good thing to have in our streams. An example for what we have even here in Gilmer County is Japanese knotweed. So this, even though it covers large amounts of banks and has root systems, this is an invasive species that can be detrimental to different habitats as well as spread down the stream. So as this continues to flow through next to a stream, it's only multiplying itself. So when we go through and we're doing management within our stream side management zones, we want to make sure that we are decreasing the amount of invasives holding the bank, but we're allowing those naturally forming native trees to get established. One good way to know what your population is or the type of wildlife you could be managing for in your area is to find some kind of loose soil structure. For here, we're down into a nice little creek here at Cedar Creek, and we can see tracks. You see the little fingers and paw prints from raccoons in the area. This is most likely because we have large amounts of food resources with pawpaws and other plants that they like to eat, as well as they can work their way down to the stream to eat crawfish and other small invertebrates and things like that. Over next to them, you can see some white-tailed deer tracks as they're coming down to this main water source. You can see the difference between the fingers for the raccoon versus the hoof prints for the white-tailed deer. So they're also working their way down here. So there's at least 2 species we know that are currently in the location of our forest that we could possibly be managing for. And all because we have evidence of what's left behind. So we can also look at things like rubs on trees, as well as different scrapes or things on the ground, den areas, or even scat that we can identify to try to figure out maybe what's currently in our forest and what we need to manage for. If you look behind me, we can see a little island that has been man-made into this pond. This island is mostly for nesting habitats for waterfowl here at Cedar Creek State Park. So if you look towards the lower parts of that island, you'll see different heights in vegetation working your way towards the center, which is higher points. Those higher points provide different viewpoints for birds, as well as 2 bald eagles that have called themselves this at Cedar Creek State Park their home. If we look back down towards the waterway of those islands, we can see some old dead trees that have fallen over branches. Those branches have set down in the water, creating not only a nesting and safe area for different birds, but as well as have created habitat for the fish that are underneath the water. This is also a good area for them to nest, burrowing down into maybe looser soil types and getting down into maybe some of the root systems for protection. So this is an ecological thing that has been man-made to help with wildlife management through forestry, environmental studies, different things like that. Come and visit anytime. They've got everything from paddle boats, fishing, campgrounds. They put on festivals year-round. It's a really good place to come get a little bit of an education about some of the stuff that we have here in West Virginia, as well as have a good time with your family. So come on down, visit, and come spend a little bit of time at Cedar Creek State Park.